y'all. This is your girl, Nakia Cherie. Y'all already know what time it is. Welcome to Pour Your Heart Out Open Mic Artist Talk with Sade the Love Poet. So, as you guys know, we have a live show that's going down in the beautiful city of Lakeland, Florida on July the 26th, 2025 at 6 o'clock p.m. We have an amazing feature artist. And tonight we're going to interview one of our feature artists. Now, y'all know she is not new to our stage. So without further ado, I would like to interview tonight Sade the Love Poet. Welcome.
Hello, hello, hello.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. So with this rain, I'm in and out of sleepiness.
Yeah. Yes, this rain is doing it to us. So we're going to get into the interview tonight. We want to get all in your business. We want to learn some things about you as an artist and what people can expect from you. So first and foremost, tell us, how did you get the name Sade the Love Poet?
Just kind of going into like trying to find a way to tap into my confidence, get out of the insecurity, stepping out on faith. Sade the Love Poet came from, I basically like to call it my alter ego. When I am tapping into, this person where, she's not caring about, what the outside world is bringing or what's going on inside of her head. It's just, just pouring into other people and being able to like just give people the mood and feeling that love is still in the air, love is still real. So when I started to do poetry, my poems kind of wrapped itself around love. And
Mm-hmm.
Sade is like the smooth, killer of like just, being able to just embrace everybody and then like, just walking into the room and everybody can feel that love. So this is where Sade the Love Poet came from.
Absolutely. Now, that is good because, a lot of times we have this misconception of what love is. So, can you kind of define to us, what do you think love look like? What is love to you?
So I like a lot of people when I hear people have conversations and I talk to a lot of people that are a little bit younger than me that haven't really experienced or found like true love, as you can say.
Hmm.
I don't believe that love is a feeling. I believe
Okay.
that love is an actual person. And a lot of people say like, they're looking for love, and I think they look for love inside somebody else when the love is the person that's inside of us, because we have to find our way to love ourselves first before we actually start loving somebody else. So when I look at love as something that I give to myself that somebody else can see, then now I can pour into that person and really give them the love that I feel. And it doesn't always look the same in everybody, and it doesn't always feel like love when you're giving it. But, sometimes you have to realize that love is a choice, and a person that, you're choosing to do something even in spite of how you're feeling.
Ah, I love that. I love the fact of you saying that love is a choice, because a lot of times we think love is this feeling. And like you said, love is not a feeling. Love is not something that you can feel. However, you can make a decision and you can make a choice to love us. And like, I love how the Bible tells us that love is patient, love is kind. Love doesn't keep any record of wrong, and all of that. And especially as creatives, it's important for us to write from a place of wholeness. And that kind of goes into this next question I have for you. Can you share a moment where your art helped you heal or process something deep?
Yes. So I always like, I'm very transparent with, people around me, and, like I go to therapy. And a lot of times, like in therapy, we talk about journaling, we talk about, sitting in the car silent for a while. We talk about just like the little things of how to get yourself centered. And then when you're talking about, inner healing, poetry has allowed me to express how I feel on a piece of paper. no matter how nobody else views it, how nobody else look at it. It has allowed me to express myself in fullness, and just being able to identify emotion in certain moments. So when you talk about healing, I'm allowed to put that feeling or that thought on a piece of paper about how I feel about somebody and articulate it in a way that it may
Mm.
not be directly at whatever person or whatever feeling, but it allows me to be able to express myself without, being offensive. So
Right.
I use poetry as my way of me and God trying to connect. And it allows
Yeah.
me to heal in a way of saying like I'm being as transparent as I can, to be able to connect to somebody else that may feel the same thing and don't know how to say it, and
Mhm.
I just gave them some way to say it without, or gave them a confidence to say how they feel, without saying it. So for me, it definitely has helped me continue to always center myself around, just being able to just say, it's okay to not be okay all the time. And it's okay to not always have the answers. It's okay to be in a feeling in a place where you are fighting with your inner child, and then not being able to know how to get out of it. You're allowed to be in a space in poetry where you are allowed to deal with that feeling and deal with that situation. And then when you finish writing, it just feels like that emotion or that moment isn't there anymore.
Oh wow. That is so good because a lot of times I know for myself when I write, I always say that poetry has become a space of like therapy for me. It's a place where I can get all of my emotions out, how I can, say what I want to say and not feel judged. It's just between me and this paper. So has there ever been any places in your season of writing where it was just like a dry season? It was a season where you didn't have anything to say. It was a season where the words weren't coming out. Have you ever experienced that?
Absolutely. So like recently I actually went through that drought where like I was in the process of like, getting married and everything, and that process was just so, it was so draining and so tiresome, to where you were trying to balance all these different things at once, and then you want to make this one moment perfect, and you only got 12 months to figure that out. That was really hard because I took a lot of hits in those times, that I didn't really want to deal with. I took a lot of hurt and pain, and I hid it, behind my heart, and I never was able to be able to put it on the paper. And I struggled with that for months, where I'm just like, I feel this feeling, but I can't articulate it. I can't put it in a poem like I'm usually able to just flow. And it's just being able to go there, and I'm like, I can't do it. Like no matter how many times I sit in a moment or sit in a car, instead of it being, me being able to like write, what I would do is I would just sit there and I would just allow the tears to flow. And
Yeah.
I would pray, and I would just say, God, when the time is right, allow me to be able to flow with everything that I just dealt with on paper, so that now I can heal from all this stuff, and I can actually write. And it frustrated me because, writing is my place of peace. Writing is where I get most of my healing from, other than, talking to God and being able to have that connection. But that's my right, that's my wholeness. And it was just so hard within those this last year, because I didn't think, I had to pull some stuff, out of the hat, and I started just doing different things. So, once the wedding was over, what I started to do was I started to just create different content of me just not talking, me just being in a place, that I think is, poetic, and a scenery that I think I could, just do. And a friend told me, she was like, I was like, man, like I just can't write. I can't write. Like I'm frustrated. Like, and I didn't want to do any content because I was like, if I can't talk in my content, it doesn't make any sense to do it. And she was like, Sadie's, your life is your content. And
Woo!
I was just like, "What do you mean?" And she was like,
Wow.
"Everything you do is poetic. So you have to make." She's like, "You want to be transparent in those moments. Take your life and put it in a video, and just put wording over it of you just talking." And I was just sitting in the car one day, and I said, and I was waiting on my wife, and I was like, I want to freestyle it, and I just put a word out, and I just freestyled it, and it just flowed so fluently. And my sister was like, "Dang, that sounded really good." I was like, "I should have
Yeah.
recorded that."
Listen, I overstand that because I have not, in my opinion, I have not written up to the caliber that I usually write because so many distractions literally has come my way. So I have been writing, but to me, I'm like, this isn't something that I want to put out there. So sometimes us as artists, I think sometimes when we're trying to format things and we think too hard into it, it doesn't flow because you're trying to make it so that you can perform it, right? But it's so much easier when you just allow the pen to move and you allow your heart to move and you allow whatever's inside of your heart to flow onto that paper. It makes it so much easier. So then when you do write from a place of, okay, I'm going to perform it, it's going to flow because you've already been in that rhythm of writing and getting those things out. I think it's very important for us as creatives to make sure that we are writing from a place of wholeness because when we write, people are listening. These words, they create worlds, and people are listening to our hearts. They're listening to what we're going through. And I know for me, who inspires me, one of the artists that inspires me is absolutely like Maya Angelou. I love Maya Angelou. I love Charmaine Jennings. Shout out to the Jennings, baby. I love Charmaine Jennings. She's one of those artists that is real and she's raw. And when I tell you, like, she says things that are so transparent, things that, like you may not want to say out loud, but she says them through her poetry. Who are some artists or anyone that you can think of that their writing or their body of work has encouraged you? And it doesn't have to be a poet.
One person in particular, that really inspires me, and this person allowed me to start into this space, and it's Miss Nakia Stokes. That's one of those people. I mean, you are bold, you are unapologetic when you are pouring your heart out, and that's kind of one of the things that I look up to is being able to be that transparent, in moments. There's another artist, her name is AUT. It's called Alt. Her name's Alt. She doesn't like really kind of like rhyme a lot of times. She's just a conversationalist. So
Okay.
in her poems, it's more so like, I'm not forcing it, but I'm having a conversation with things and people, that I've never told, that like told how I felt. So this
Okay.
is my way of telling you. So I listen to a lot of her stuff, and it inspires me, just kind of, mixing, the big and bold to, the, kind of quiet and subtle. And I kind of try to find different ways to intertwine that into my poetry. And I'm learning how to be more like, if I'm walking into the room, this is love. And
Mm.
people, and it's like, yesterday I had a lot of like different things where people were just complimenting me. Like, I get a lot of compliments on my smile. I get a lot of compliments on just, how, I guess you could say open I am. And like I tell people, I just feel like sometimes we have to learn to be an open book without always giving access.
Woo! Say
So
that
it's like,
again.
it's
Say
like you
that
can
again. That
you
was
can
good.
you we had to learn how to be an open book without being giving access to different things. So
Right.
when somebody asks me a question, I am going to give you your answer, but it's going to be in a way of like, you're going to want to know more, instead of me just telling you, hey, oh yeah, I went through this, and this, and giving you a whole deep backstory. I have learned, and I am learning within this last year, is that you could be an open book without allowing people access to feel that they're super close to you. And in my poetry and just the things that I do, and even when I go to therapy, like, we have talked about a lot of things of just being able to allow people to feel like you are there for them without you actually giving them so much of yourself. So I'm learning how to be silent in moments that I want to be loud. I'm learning how to not share certain things when
Mhm.
I'm in a moment of vulnerability, because sometimes, I have to remember that that's just the moment.
Yeah.
So it's like in and out, because a lot of people don't know how to deal with someone that is so self-aware of their self, and doing that. And this is, 6 years of therapy, life coach, mentoring, like that I've dealt with within, like, just being up under you as my mentor for poetry, and just my therapist, just even with my basketball career. Like, I've learned all these different things, and just the transforming myself into this butterfly that you see. I think that there's still some things on my wings that still have to continue to develop. Just because I think that the key to life is understanding to be self-aware, without pouring too much of yourself.
Huh. You said so much in that little space that can really help someone, not just creatives, but people in general. Because a lot of times we continue to pour from a place of deficit. And when you continue to pour, there's nothing in your cup. Your cup is on E. The Bible tells us that, you know what I'm saying, your cup is supposed to run over. What's inside of the cup is for you, and what's outside the cup is for everybody else. And we get into this groove of oversharing, right? I love the fact that you said, I have a mentor that in this area with poetry. I have a therapist. Even when it comes to my basketball, I have people that mentor me. And it literally takes a village when it comes to our personal development, and when it comes to us going through these processes as creatives. We have so many different thoughts and so many different emotions, and so much just running through us all at the same time. It's hard to vent. Like, you like, who do I vent to? Who do I talk to? But we must govern ourselves and steward ourselves accordingly, and not just be word vomit and telling everybody our problems and our issues and everything like that. I know for myself as an artist, I don't like to create a poem unless I am over something. So I want to tell you the testimony. I want to tell you everything that I went through, but I also want to tell you how I got through it, so that the poetry can be that it can transform the minds and the hearts of those. So I know that you're coming to the show on July the 26th. What can the people expect from you as an artist?
Um, so I got this set that I'm working on right
Okay.
now, that I'm finishing up, and my set is called "So Make Me Please." Um, so it's it's
Okay.
it's a it's a it's a pretty, unique one. A little bit out of my element, but it's something that I am trying. So I would tell everybody, if you have not bought tickets yet, you must be here, because this is going to be one to remember as any other Pour Your Heart Out event that we've had and we've been a part of. Like, it always leaves people so full, and so excited for what's to come. But for me, I am going to make sure that I am giving y'all my heart. I'm going to make sure that you guys are leaving full and feeling loved, that is in the air. So make sure y'all get those tickets.
Listen, y'all heard what Sade the Love Poet said. She said, go ahead and get your tickets to our show on July the 26th. Next month, y'all. Like, June is already over. We have about, I got like 3 tickets the other day. So I think we're down to like 18 tickets. So make sure that you go ahead and get your tickets. I want it to be comfortable and intimate. I love intimate spaces. I can go bigger, but I love the intimacy of having everybody in the room, no matter what walk of life you are from. I don't care who you are, what you do, and how you do it. We welcome all walks of life into this space so that we can heal through the art of poetry. We're going to laugh. We're going to have some fun. We may cry. We never know what's going to happen in this space. But Sadie's, do you have any last words for our people? Anything you want to say? Any words of encouragement for our audience? Go ahead and let them have it.
Listen, I would encourage everybody to make sure that you are always open with yourself. Continue to always reach out for God. Make sure you find somebody that is in your corner, and continue to embrace yourselves each and every day. Have grace with yourself on this walk of life, because the world is already hard on us, so we have to find a way to be easy on us, too, and don't allow anybody else to make you feel like you are too much, because you are just enough for what God has made you to be in this season. But if you want to talk to me, follow me on Sade the Love Poet on Instagram. I got a lot of good art on there. But if you guys have not already, please make sure y'all are there July 26th. I'm gonna be dropping some great words. And then I see all the artists that has been posted on those flyers. They are also the T. So make sure that you guys are getting your tickets, and make sure you guys are there on July 26th. And I'm waiting to see you guys there.
Y'all heard her. So, Sadie, thank you so much for being a part of Pour Your Heart Out Open Mic. We can't wait to see you. All right, y'all. Y'all enjoy the rest of your day. Y'all
All
already know this is your
right.
girl, Nakia Cherie, winning souls through the art of poetry, declaring Jeremiah 29:11 over your life and mine. For he knows the plans. I'm just walking in them. See y'all.